So today's poem, I'm just gonna read it to y'all. So it says here, so much heartaches, failure, and disappointment, enough to fill 2 lifetimes. How can one's life be this painful? The walls of my room bear witness to my perseverance. If I could bottle my tears, I'd fill an ocean. Thank you. Thank you. Anywho, yeah, that's the poem for today. I guess doesn't have a direct correlation, doesn't have, it's not connected to what I'm gonna talk about today, but yeah, just a little something, just a little spice. Dude, let me tell you, it's been a crazy 48 hours ever since I recorded a podcast. My laptop is literally at 19% right now. 5 minutes ago it was at 24, and I am so mad. It could die anytime, like for real. Anywho, it was so crazy. Like, let me tell you about it, right? Let me tell you about it. You have no choice but to listen. So earlier I was doing the laundry, right? So it was my bed sheet, my blanket, and then a bunch of my sister's clothes, blah blah, right? So it's a big load. Everything was good. Like I put it in like the spinner, the spinner, and then I put it on like the dryer. That this is when shit hit the fan. I swear, this is when shit hit the fan. I was like, okay, let me put it on air fluff with no heat. That was my first mistake because I have this blanket. It's so fluffy. It's one of those fluffy blankets. And I don't want to ruin it, right? I don't want to ruin it by adding heat. Just to be on the safe zone, I was like, let me put it on no heat, air fluff. And the other thing too is like the laundry equipment. The laundry room is on the basement. Right now I'm on the second floor. So I have to go down the stairs again and again and again every like 15 minutes, right? I probably did that like 4 times. And then the first time it was like, oh, okay, they're still moist. Boom. And then the second time I was like, okay, let's put it on heat for 10 minutes. They're still moist. What the hell? It was such a workout the whole day. It was such a workout. But anyway, welcome back to Once They Exit the Gates. I'm your host, Linus. Today, we're gonna talk about something fun. Something to get our mind off of things. Okay, so today we're talking about my experience working at a clothing store. Uh, yeah, so I used to work at a clothing store. Let me just set the scene, right? Give you like the background information. So so it was November of 2022. I was on a hangout with someone, and then we went to this clothing store, and then on one of like their doors, there's like a poster. It says hiring. So I went there like probably like a week later, and then I was on my best foot forward, whatever. And then they basically hired me on the spot, right? They basically hired me on the spot. I was like, here's my resume, here's my cover letter. And then I think I had to like return something from another store but the same mall. And then they called me, they were like, are you still in the mall? And I was like, yeah. And then yeah, they hired me, they gave me the contract, blah blah, signed it. That's probably like my very no, actually it is my very first, it is my very first job ever. Not ever, but like it is my very first real job, if that makes sense. Because Before working at that clothing store, I used to work as a background actor. By the time you're hearing this, it's probably out. I worked on this production called My Life with the Walter Boys. So if you can spot me in there, Asian guy with like long curly black hair. But anyway, so I got the job at this clothing store, and then it was great at first. It was great. I started the job, and since I didn't know anything and we were being slammed, since it's a clothing store in November, we're being slammed, right? Left and right, every single direction. We were being slammed. People were buying Christmas sweaters. Like, it was so busy. They put me as a greeter. So what you basically do is just greet. Obviously, you just greet people. Once they exit the gates down. Once they exit the gates, you greet them. Once they enter, you greet them. So just basically, happy holidays, or like have a good day, right? And then one of the tasks is also like if it beeps, because like there are sensors on like the entrance slash exit, right? If it beeps, you need to search their bag, and then look for any tags or anything, and then look for authenticity, that they really, like, they're not shoplifting, like they really paid for that, and it was just an honest mistake, right? So one time there was this like literally so kind, this lady was so kind, and then I was like, it beeps, right? Like, she exited the store, it beeps, like her bag beeps. Oh my god, I was like, oh, okay, let me check your shopping bag, I'm so sorry for that, it always happens, right? I checked the receipt. There you go, receipt. um it checks out, like what the receipt says is what's in her bag, shopping bag. This is where shit gets kind of illegal, because I was like, can I search your bag, your personal bag? Apparently you cannot do that. Apparently you cannot do that. Yeah, because you're not a security guard or anything. Lucky for me, she didn't report it or anything. I searched her bag. I swear, I was like, did you stuff anything in here? Maybe, like, did you stuff a keychain of sorts? Like, my coworker was like, dude, what you did, you were crossing the line. You were crossing the line with what you did. I was like, what? Wasn't I supposed to check the bags? That's my first story. Okay, my second story is when I let a shoplifter out. This is completely the exact opposite of the first story. So, let me just set the scene. It was just like probably January of 2023. It was like a normal afternoon. The store wasn't too busy, but it wasn't too chill. So a good amount of customers, right? And then there was this lady. There was this lady. I was once again a greeter. What happened was that, because there are sensors, like I said, right? Those sensors, they're like standing in front of like the exit, but the sensors that are standing erect, I don't want to use that word, that are standing near the walls, I guess, like the door frame of the store, they're not that good. They're not that good. How do I even say this? It's like they're not that good. Plus, like, on your other side, there's no sensor because like it's a door frame, right? So there's like a quick little like slit in there, like where you can just exit. I don't know if that's making sense. I'm really trying to paint the picture here, but the sensors near, I'm not guys, I'm not trying to teach you guys how to shoplift, but those sensors on the other side, they don't have any sensors. So if you right? If you're trying to steal something, and if you put it on the other side where it's just a door frame, it will not beep. Anyway, there was this lady walking so damn fast, and I was like helping a customer, right? I was helping a customer. I was like slammed as a I was slammed as a greeter because like I was greeting people who are coming in, people who have questions, and the people who are coming out. I think like this lady was asking me for like a Brazil shirt or something. She was like, "Oh, do you guys have any Brazil shirts in there?" We were towards the end of the conversation when this girl was like not storming, but like, yeah, storming out. This girl was storming out of the store. I was like, "What the hell?" I was just seeing her in my peripheral, and then she was holding this big ass bag, and I was like, "What the hell?" Last minute, it beeped. It beeped. It was kind of, from what I remembered, if I'm not mistaken, the beep was kind of late. She was probably like 1.5 meters away from like the store entrance when it beeped. And I was still in like on a conversation with this lady asking for a Brazil shirt. So I was like, what the hell? And then I told my assistant manager about it, and she was like, yeah, it happens. It happens. She was like, it's alright. Just forget about it. It's not your fault. You were overwhelmed with customers. Up to this day, I don't know if that girl was really a shoplifter. Because, like, sometimes those sensors are kind of faulty. So if you have, like, you know, like a really metallic belt, sometimes it senses that. Or, like, if you have so many, like, jewelries on, sometimes it senses that. And yeah, it mistakes it for the tag. So yeah, maybe that was just the reason, and she was like hurrying to go home or something. Maybe she was not shoplifting at all. But at that time, dude, I was just so I was just so regretful. I was like, why didn't I become more proactive, more cautious, right? And boom. That's story number 2 for you. Next, I guess this was part of the reason why I quit the job. This happened probably late January. So the same month story 2 happened. Y'all, I had to take a break. So here we go again. I literally just watched Poetic Justice while I was taking a break. It was so good. It was so damn good. Poetic indeed. Anyway, wait, I gotta pull up my outline for today's podcast. Oh, okay. I think I stopped at before I think I was about to tell you guys story 3. Yeah, story 3. We'll title it The Fire at the Mall. Anyway, let me set the scene for you guys. So at this point, I like I said, it's like it was the same month that story 2 happened when I let the shoplifter out. Possible shoplifter, okay? I'm not that bad at my job. So basically what happened was there was a fire at the mall. Like that's the whole gist of the story, right? I was working at the clearance section. Suddenly there was like the PA system, right? Like announcing, right? Like the speakers were like announcing like, yo, you need to evacuate. There's a fire at the mall, right? You need to evacuate like right now. I was like, what? Like there's this thing with me where I'm so numb most of the time when I'm like, I just brush things off, right? Like the very first time I was on a plane, technically, I was like, yeah, whatever. The same thing with this one. They were like, there's a fire at the mall, you need to evacuate. I was like, yeah, what are we gonna do now? Oh my gosh. Like the most insane thing happened. I'm seeing firefighters. I'm seeing firefighters entering the building. No customers at all. The whole thing was wiped clean. Just firefighters. Everybody evacuated the building. My manager, I will never ever ever forget this. My manager was like, "Yeah, yeah, sure. Let's just stay here." I was like, "What?" In my head, I was like, "What?" She was like, "Since there are no customers, let's just stay here. Let's take this time. Let's take advantage of this time to clean the whole store." Like, I was like, "What?" This woman had the audacity to say that we should not evacuate. What do you mean we should not evacuate the building? There's a literal fire. It might be minor, but like, dude, you're putting everyone's lives at risk here. What, for the sake of cleanliness? This whole thing wouldn't be clean if everything would have gone to ashes. I was like, what the frick are you talking about? Let's not evacuate the building. And then my coworkers were like, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Like, what? They were like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds good to me. That sounds good. Let's just clean the store while there's a fire going on. Like, I may look okay externally, but like, dude, I'm freaking out inside. That was so bizarre. That was anyway. That's story 3, and then probably 2 weeks later, I quit because my manager was like, "You don't look." I will never forget this. I was like sweeping, right? We were closing. It was like probably 8:30 at night, 9:30 at night. My manager was like, "You look like you don't want to be here." In my head, I was like, "What do you mean? No one wants to be here. You don't look energized to work." Girl. When she said that, oh my gosh, my blood started boiling. I was like, let's be for real. Who wants to be at a store at 9:30 at night? And that was probably like a Saturday too. Who wants to be there at 9:30 on a Saturday night? Folding clothes, sweeping the floor. No one wants to be there folding sweatpants, dude. You probably don't even want to be there. And just the fact that 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks before that happened, she literally said, let's not evacuate the store while there's a literal fire going on in the mall. Like, babes, are you good? Did you even check how I'm doing? Because 2 weeks ago, you literally told me, let's not evacuate the building while there's a literal fire going on. What do you mean? You don't look like you don't want to be here. Of course I don't want to be there. Why would I want to be there under the management of someone that is incompetent, doesn't care about her team? Anywho, yeah, and then I quit. I quit probably like 2 days after Valentine's Day. That's my story for today, y'all. That was a lot. I know that was a lot. But yeah, that was my very first job. It was fun though. Like, besides those stories, it was fun. It was fun. When I was a kid, I used to dream of like being behind the cashier and like scanning like the tags, because my sister had this like, it's like this cashier toy set, and I would just play and like scan my own clothes and shit. And it is it's so fun. It was so fun. It's like when I was there, I got to scan so many clothes and then do the little transaction. It's like, how are you paying? Cash or card? It was so fun. And like you got to use the clickety clackety keyboard that they have, and then like the cashier would open, like the cash box would open. It was so fun. It was so fun. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. buy my book. It's also in the description below. If you cannot find it, you can find it on my Instagram. My heart and soul in that book. It's called Soul's Quiet Release. Yeah. Yeah, see you guys next time. You guys have a good rest of your week. And as always, everything's going to be fine.